Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. Going to be giving you my reaction to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's press conference ahead of our game against West Brom on Sunday. So, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was asked about Scott's impact in front of goal after he netted for a third game in a row during the victory over West Ham in the Cup on Tuesday. And he scored, 7 goals in all competitions this season. Solskjaer was also quizzed about his squad and league form and the two-legged Europa League rounds, Fred's development, and sadly he had to field more questions about online abuse. Solskjaer's also provided us with an update on Eric Bailly and Paul Pogba. And I think 2 young players have been promoted into the first team squad. So anyway, let's get into the questions that Ollie was asked, and then I'll give you his responses to them. So this was the first question he was asked. What sort of shape are you and your squad in after an traditional Tuesday night? And of course, with the Europa League coming up, I guess you will have to be thinking about how you manage your resources even more carefully. So Ollie's response to that one was, well, we've had a rare opportunity to do a bit of training and actually some recovery. You've got Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and not a game until Sunday. That there's been a rarity for us, really. Paul Pogba is still out. Eric Bailly has been training, so that's a boost to us. So that was Ollie's response to that question. Paul Pogba has obviously got a thigh injury. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has revealed he's going to be out for a few weeks. And he is going to be a big miss. The vast majority of Paul Pogba's performances have been very, very good since he came back from that ankle injury that he had earlier on this season. He was out for the vast majority of last season with an ankle injury. He got voted Player of the Month, by the way, for January. Paul Pogba scored a fantastic goal in our 2-1 win against Fulham. Now, Paul Pogba's agent, Mino Raiola, admits he's working quietly on Paul Pogba's transfer because he said if he speaks, someone gets offended. Mino Raiola made an announcement back in December, didn't he? Saying that Paul Pogba's career at Man United is over. He said he's unhappy and he has to leave and he's got no intentions of signing a new contract. As you all know, Solskjaer was furious with Mino Raiola's announcement because it was just before the game against RB Leipzig in the Champions League. Like I updated you on my recent videos, Paul Pogba has been approached by Juventus again. Juventus want to re-sign him in the summer. Reports from Italy have said that Juventus offered us 4 players in exchange for Paul Pogba. So yeah, there's a good chance he will go back to Juventus because he did enjoy 4 good years with them. There's 3 clubs that are in for him. That's Juventus, Real Madrid and PSG. So he has had a long-running transfer saga. Now, Solskjaer recently suggested Paul Pogba could sign a new contract at Man United. He insists that he's happy at the club, and we have held talks with Paul Pogba over his future. Now, last month, it said Paul Pogba was considering making a U-turn at the club. That means staying at Manchester United, potentially past the summer. and he contradicted his agent Mino Raiola for the second time. Now, Paul Pogba's brother, Matthias, he recently advised us to sell Paul Pogba during the summer if we are to get the money. Or he says we could lose him for nothing next year. He did say that Paul Pogba's got no intentions of signing a new contract. Fabrizio Romano said a few weeks ago that Paul Pogba's transfer away from Man United is still on the cards because Mino Raiola's been planning a move for Paul Pogba in the summer. Earlier on this season, we triggered that 1-year extension on his contract, so he's under contract on Man United until June 2022. He's our most expensive sign at the moment because we paid £89 million for him, and this is his 5th season at the football club since he rejoined. So anyway, and Eric Bailly, he has recently been out with injury, and I think Eric Bailly is a very, very good centre-half. I like the way he intercepts. He shows that ability to play out from the back, and he can be effective in the air. He's just too injury-prone, but I certainly prefer him to Victor Lindelof. So yeah, Bailly could be playing in this game, which is good news from a Manchester United perspective. So anyway, this was the second question in the press conference that was asked to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. In terms of training, it seems like you've got some of the young lads with you and they're going to be with you for the rest of the season, or is that only short term? In terms of the Europa League, we've seen both of Arsenal's fixtures move to neutral territories. We've seen your first leg move to neutral territories. Do you think this is sustainable? So Ole's response to that was, first of all, the young kids. Yeah, we've moved Shola, Shortire up with us. Hannibal will probably join us and we'll keep them with us for a while. I think it's a next step in their development. We've just got to take the hit on them that when they play for the reserves, they have to travel by themselves. They've moved into our bubble. I think it's a nice step for them. Well deserved because they've done really well. With Europe, of course, that's what we hope, that it's going to be sustainable. The travel in Europe is difficult at the moment, as we all know. It's not the decision that we made. When one game is at a neutral venue, it's a disadvantage, of course, for the team that doesn't have the home game. That's out of our hands. It's nothing that we can say, okay, we'll meet in Turin and have one game. I wouldn't mind that all, one game less. So that was Ollie's response to that one. So yeah, like I said, the game against Real Sociedad in the Europa League first leg is going to be played in Turin due to the travel restrictions in Spain. From my perception, I do find it very, very silly. This was another question that was asked to Ollie during the press conference. I know you've had some good results in the Cup against Liverpool and West Ham and the Southampton game, but it's one winning 4 in the league. How important is it to get that momentum again? Because the gap to Man City is getting bigger and the other teams are getting closer. So Ollie's response to that one was, of course, it's an important game for us this weekend. It's an important spell. Every game you tick one off and are there less possibilities to make up the points to the teams in front of you. That's what we want to do. That's what we're here to do. And Sunday is a big one for us in that respect, to get back to winning ways. The 2 points dropped against Everton were disappointing when it's the last kick off the ball, but we bounced back well in the Cup against West Ham. We're through and we're into the quarters. That was a good step in the right direction and another clean sheet. So this was another question that was asked to him. This is regarding the racism on social media. You know, it's happened a few times. You know, not so long ago, Rashford got racially abused. Tuanzebe has been racially abused now a couple of times, and Anthony Martial also got racially abused. But anyway, it says here, I know every press conference recently we've asked you about social media and racism, but every time we see you it seems to have escalated, whether it's male or female players at Man United, whether it's managers or referees. Is this a movement where something is going to change and we are getting some traction here where it's going to be something constructive at the end of this process? So Ollie's response to that was, today with all the abuse and discrimination on social media, for me it's simple, if you don't have proof of your identity, you can open an account. That's just as simple as it would be so much easier to punish the people who have nothing better to do. So yeah, they do deserve to be punished, definitely. This was another question that was asked to Wally. You made a really good point there about the two lads because they are no fans and because of this fixture congestion. Would it not make sense to have a one-off knockout game instead of sticking to the two legs? So Wall's response to that was, well, that's what we did last season. We met somewhere neutral and made it a tournament. Of course, home and away, we have to keep that going, and as I said, we do have a little advantage. It's a disadvantage for Solskjaer, of course, to have their home game in cheering. For me, I wouldn't stand in the way of that, but there are probably other reasons that we don't. This was another question. This is regarding McTominay. 7 goals for McTominay this season, like I mentioned earlier. Is that something you thought coming into this season that you wanted to add to his game? If he gets double figures, do you think that could play a significant role in how the team does as a whole? So Ollie's response to that was, to add goals from midfield is vital. We had last season, our 3 forwards were brilliant. We were really efficient and scored goals. 60 odd, Bruno Fernandes came in and scored goals. We need more goals from midfield. Scott has got that ability to do box to box. He's a threat inside the box and he used to be a striker. Before, I think for us to move up the league and be successful in the cups, we need our forwards to keep on firing and getting more goals. And then I wouldn't mind our midfielders adding a few more. If Scott could get into double figures, that would be very good for a so-called defensive midfielder. I've been very impressed with McTominay in quite a few games this season. You know, obviously scored in extra time against West Ham. It was a very, very good volley as well from McTominay. He had a very, very good game against Watford in the FA Cup third round, scored in the 5th minute of that one. He did well in the 9-0 win against Southampton, and he did very, very well in the 6-2 win against Leeds back in December because he scored twice in that game and he also got an assist. Don't forget, McTominay did sign a 5-year contract at Man United just after the first lockdown. So this was another question that was asked to him. You always said you were following a plan, taking the right steps and that you always wanted to fight for glory, but what do you see as a successful season for Man United and on your path of development? In your opinion, when does your success have to be measured in trophies? So all his response to that was, you go into every season trying to improve. If you improve, that's a step forward. Is that a big enough step forward? We'll have to see at the end if we end up with trophies. We're still in the cups. We lost in the semis in the Carabao Cup. We're in the semis in the FA Cup. And we're still in Europe. And we're second in the league at the moment. It looks like we've improved, but we're going into the deciding period of the season. So it's now that we have to kick on. It's now that we have to keep our consistency, get the quality higher, eradicate some of the mistakes that we're making and be more clinical in front of goal. I agree. I don't want to say what would be a successful season at the moment, but we have the chance to end this season with the feeling that this season has been a success if we improve. I think we have shown qualities that can win us trophies. So that's, definitely a fair response from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer on that aspect. So you can't really say what's going to be a successful season at the moment. Solskjaer knows how imperative it is to get his first trophy on the board as Man United manager. Because a club of our stature needs to be winning trophies. We haven't won a trophy since 2017. And like I said, the FA has a chance of a trophy. The Europa has a chance of a trophy. Obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has disregarded the title now because he made an admission after our 3-3 draw with Everton. And he said we shouldn't be considered as title chasers. And obviously, you've got City that are 5 points in front of us with a game in hand. I think we could win the title maybe next season, maybe next couple of seasons. We haven't won it since 2013. But anyway, this was another question that was asked to him. If Fred plays at the weekend, it will be his 100th appearance for Man United. He had a very difficult first season at Man United. What have you done to help him improve, and what does he bring to your team that he now seems to be an important player? And how do you personally pronounce his name? So all his response to that was, Fred, it might be incorrect, but I'm Norwegian. He's really done well, and I have to say I've enjoyed working with him from the last few seasons. When I came, he was a boy that was struggling a bit. The numerous questions I got about Fred in press conferences then, as I said then, players coming into a new country, it takes time to settle, and it took some time for Fred to settle. Now that he has, he's grown in confidence. There's less time in the Premier League than what he's used to. He's quickened up his game. He's not getting caught on the ball. I'm not going to take any credit for that. It's the coaches, Carrick and Kieran McKenna, have been brilliant with him. But it's Fred himself that has had the hunger and the humility and wanted to learn and to stick at it and keep working. As you said, 100 games, there are not many people that can say they've played 100 games for Man United, and I'm sure there will be many more to come. Hopefully he'll score outside the box soon, although I'm not sure if he's going to be with his right. I've tried to tell him. Again, fair response from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And yeah, Fred is really improving. You know, he's keeping the ball well. His passing's getting better. He's getting forward well. He's breaking up the play well. You know, Fred's been at the club now a few years. We got Fred in a deal worth £52 million from Shakhtar Donetsk. And yeah, Fred did really struggle under the Jose Mourinho era, but he didn't really get enough opportunities under the Jose Mourinho era. I've got to say Fred was a world-class player during his time at Shakhtar Donetsk. I can see him making his 100th appearance then against West Brom. Anyway, this was another question that was asked to Ollie. Just coming back to the social media aspect of the game, do you think the abuse that players are getting is now bearing on their mind when they go out onto the field? Because they might think, if I make another mistake, I'm going to get hammered. I'm going to potentially be racially abused when I come off the pitch. Is that making them a bit more scared when they are playing? So Ollie's response to that was, I think that if it does, then we've come too far. We're already coming too far anyway with this concept, and the abuse has gone overboard and it's unacceptable. I would hope that we have educated our players enough to stay away from most of the criticism. To stop this, it would be, for me, an easy solution. It should be so easy that people have to verify who they are to open an account. With all this with the fake names, that's my wish, that we can go, okay, if you want to have an account, it has to be verified. And the last question of the press conference was, again, the abuse of people on social media. Is that something that you've experienced personally? And is it possible for the manager of Man United to have a social media account these days? And so Ollie's response to that was, I probably have been abused right, left and centre. That's just the way it is. No, I don't know about that at all. It is possible, but it might not have to be in my name. As long as it's verified, the account is me. I'm happy enough without it at the moment. I live in 2021, but I'm old school. I have kids who are on it, so that should be enough. Is anything there? Ask me. So that was everything that was mentioned during the press conference. Now, I am expecting Manchester United to win this game on Sunday against West Brom. Because obviously, we've got a very, very good away record. We haven't lost away from home in the Premier League for over a year. The last time we lost away from home in the Premier League was to Liverpool back in January 2020. We did lose that game 2-0. And we are sitting second in the Premier League. We haven't travelled to the Hawthorns since 2017. We've won our last 2 trips to the Hawthorns. We had that very, very good game at the Hawthorns back in 2013. It did end 5-5. That was Alex Ferguson's last game in charge of Manchester United. We did beat West Brom earlier on this season at Old Trafford 1-0. It was a controversial penalty decision. That was actually a very, very poor game at Old Trafford earlier on this season. But like I say, West Brom are a very, very poor outfit. They are sitting in the relegation zone. Their current manager is Sam Allardyce. They obviously appointed Sam Allardyce in earlier on this season to replace Slaven Bilic because West Brom sacked Slaven Bilic. I do know quite a few of their players. West Brom have obviously got that Carlan Grant. They've got Grady Diagana. He's actually been out with injury. They've got that Callum Robinson. They've got Matheus Pereira. Probably Matheus Pereira is one of their best players. He's made an impact at West Brom. They've also got that Carnu. They've got Conor Gallagher. I think they got him on loan from Chelsea. They've got Connor Townsend. They've got Jake Livermore. They've got Robert Snodgrass. They've got Sam Johnstone. He's one of their goalkeepers. He's West Brom's first choice goalkeeper. He's a former Man United goalkeeper, so I presume he's going to be reuniting with us on Sunday. They've got Maitland-Niles. They recently got him from Arsenal. They've got Kieran Gibbs. They've got Branislav Ivanovic. They've got that Bartley as well. So yeah, there are quite a few of their players. West Brom got battered 5-0 at the Hawthorns by Man City. They also got battered by Leeds 5-0 at the Hawthorns. But like I say, this is a must-win game for Man United, and Solskjaer is going to make changes from the 1-0 win against West Ham in the FA Cup. In the game against West Ham, Solskjaer did make 6 changes from the 3-3 draw with Everton. You know, Solskjaer has got some decisions to make in this game against West Brom. You know, is he going to go with David De Gea or is he going to go with Dean Henderson in goal? I think he's going to go with David De Gea, but I actually think he should go with Dean Henderson. You know, how is he going to set up his midfield? You know, is Rashford going to start or is he going to be given a rest? Now I've heard the news about Bailly, I think there's a good chance he's going to start the game. But I was very, very disappointed that we didn't beat Everton in our last league game. We should have beaten them. You know, we squandered a 2-goal lead. We was leading twice in that game. But David De Gea effectively cost us that game against Everton, reflecting on the 2 bad mistakes he made. And, you know, Solskjaer recently warned David De Gea that his place is not secure in the Man United team. But he says no one's place is safe. They've got to earn their place. But I said, didn't I, know David De Gea is going to remain our number 1 for at least this season. But at some point, I think Dean Henderson will become our number 1. But I've already said to you that if we finish in the top 4, top 3 this season and we win a trophy or two, that would represent a very, very good season for Man United. Then that would obviously give us something to build on, for next season. But I do think that Solskjaer has made very, very good progress at Man United in the last year or so. There has been some games where he has been getting the best out of the players. Performances have been improving. Like I said, Solskjaer's got us to the FA Cup quarter-finals. We progressed to the quarter-finals for the 7th consecutive year. We do play Leicester in the FA Cup quarter-finals. That's going to be a tough game. Like Solskjaer mentioned, he got us to the EFL Cup semi-final this season. Lost to Man City 2-0. Solskjaer's made good signings since he got appointed in as Man United manager. He's spent over £200 million at the club. In the summer of 2019, he recommended Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka and Harry Maguire in. In January of last year, he brought Bruno Fernandes in and Odi Nagalo in on loan. And in the summer transfer window of last year, he brought Donny van der Beek in, Alex Telles, Edison Cavani, Facundo Palestre and Amad Diallo Traore. Solskjaer did well last season in his first full season at the club. He guided us to 3 semi-finals, got us 3rd, and he got us qualification for the Champions League. In total, Solskjaer's got us to 4 semi-finals as Man United manager. If we beat Leicester, Solskjaer would have gotten us to 5 semi-finals. I'm just hopeful that we can get to the final because it's very imperative that Solskjaer gets to his first actual final as Man United manager. And, we've seen a lot. Solskjaer has got rid of a lot of the deadwood since he got recommended in as Man United manager, so he also deserves credit for that. Man United will wait until the end of the season to begin contract talks with Solskjaer. It says we could offer him a new 2-year deal on one condition, that's if we qualify for the Champions League and keep pushing for the title. Solskjaer has like 16 months left on his current contract, but I think Solskjaer does deserve a new contract. We do deserve credit for sticking with him because we could have easily have sacked him, with the bad periods that we have endured under him. And he has been criticised a lot as Man United manager. But reflecting now on he's been at the football club, he has gained some managerial experience and he's learnt quite a bit on the job. And I've already gone through with you, there's still a few things that Solskjaer needs to do at the club. He's got to identify his best 11. He's got to play Donny van der Beek more. He's got to get his selections right persistently. In a lot of games at Man United, he's been tactically naive, but there's also been some games where he's showed tactical flexibility. We appointed Solskjaer in December 2018 to replace Mourinho. In his first 3 months, he was the interim manager at Man United. Obviously, he did well in that 3-month period, so the club decided to give him the job permanently in March 2019. That's when obviously he did sign a 3-year contract. Solskjaer has endured 4 transfer windows as permanent Man United manager. I think the transfer windows he has endured so far, he has not been backed enough by the board. And Woodward has come out several times to support Solskjaer. He said towards the end of last year that he will back him with a long-term plan centred around summer transfer windows. But Solskjaer obviously hasn't got all the players that he wanted to recommend in. So hopefully in the summer of this year, he gets the players that he wants in. Woodward's already said that he's set to hand Ole Gunnar Solskjaer a huge war chest to sign top players in all areas in the summer. And we are prepared to smash our transfer record. Solskjaer did say, though, our summer transfer plans could be affected by the pandemic. But despite the pandemic, I'm still expecting us to make signings. We need more signings to be genuine title contenders. I think our current squad, though, is definitely good enough to finish at least in the top 4. And on my last video, I did give you the news, didn't I, on Jadon Sancho from Borussia Dortmund. According to Eurosport, we think we can get Sancho for just £50 million in the summer. We are preparing to put a £50 million bid in. Jadon Sancho is 90% likely to leave Dortmund in the summer. It says Dortmund could sell up to 8 players this summer to raise funds. Dortmund have reduced their asking price for Sancho to £88 million. So anyway guys, that's everything to update you today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.